Broadcasting from the confines of an abandoned radio station in the secluded apartment building of high strangeness. From the foothills of the Colorado Rockies, it's time for full disclosure of the topics they told us were off limits. Hello there, I'm Connie Willis. This is Coast to Coast AM. Tonight, UFOs in the news and open lines. Time now to turn off those lights. Join me for another interesting evening of conversation, much needed education, and the chance that we might get a little closer to the truth of what lurks amongst us and what is beyond. I'm Connie Willis, and this is Coast to Coast AM. You are listening to Coast AM. Hello there, Connie Willis here. Fall is here. Wow, lots of changes. Seeing the leaves turn colors, so nice, so nice. But I still like summer, and I still have a lot more summer to do, so hopefully it won't be too quick to winter. Anyway, if you'd like to join me any other time outside of Coast to Coast AM, I hope you will by going to my website, conniewillis.com. At least sign up for my newsletter, but you can sign up to go on live investigations of Bigfoot, hauntings, strange lights, by signing up for Blue Rock Talk. You can also be a part of Connie After Dark, where you can have a drink with me. My podcast, I know, I'm bringing it back. Hang in there. I love when you say, hey, what's taking you so long? That's good. That's a good sign. I like that. I appreciate that. And also my book, Win Any Lottery. You can check that out. You can learn all about it at conniewillis.com. That's where you use a pendulum, taught by my buddy Lynn Buchanan, one of our psychic spies that comes in here and visits the show on Coast to Coast a lot of times. And he said, this is how you pick winning numbers with a pendulum. And told me that in about, 2010, 2011. I said, can I do something with this? Yeah, go ahead. So put a book together, and the method is out there. And you guys are winning money, so I'm excited. You haven't shared it yet, but hey, keep winning it. That's all that matters. Just let me know that you're still winning it. Again, that's at conniewillis.com. All right, our guest tonight, we have open lines later on, but our guest tonight, interestingly enough, he was on with me almost 2 years ago today. Almost. It was Halloween, which is very close. That's amazing. He must be sending me vibes along the way. But you guys know him, Anthony Sanchez. He's been on Coast to Coast many, many times. You've seen him on Ancient Aliens and all sorts of other shows. You know his book, UFO Highway. Now he's got a new one coming out. Guess what? It's going to be launched on Halloween. He's one of the best marketers, one of the best writers, one of the best web designers. The man does everything. And he even has a little baseball history. And maybe sometime he'll talk about that. I used to play baseball, the only girl on a guys league for like 7, 8, 9 years, something like that. And so it was fun to hear him talking about how far he got. So maybe we'll get that story out of him tonight. But since 1989, when Area 51 first captured the attention of everyone, Anthony has been into these. He's been fascinated by UFOs. He's been fascinated by a lot of things, by the way. He and I got to do a documentary together. It was really nice that he directed and produced. And so he's been around a long time doing a whole lot of things, paranormal, UFO, all sorts of things. Let's go ahead and welcome him in. He's got an incredible background. I'll let him tell you more about his background because it gets into that Silicon Valley stuff that is very, very, very deep. However, he's deep into it, and I'm glad about that, Anthony, because you know your stuff. So welcome back to Coast AM.
Thank you, Connie. I can't believe I'm actually back on the show, alive, number one, because of what happened to me in 2019, which
yes,
I did not know about, but I was stricken with Guillain-Barré syndrome and spent 6 months in the hospital, completely paralyzed. And I wasn't able to speak for 2 years. From August 2019, I wasn't able to speak. So this is kind of a miracle. So thank you, guys.
Glad to hear you back. And it was just in time for another book. So your voice is right on time with your talents.
Well, one of the things that I have tried to do my entire life is to unlock the mysteries of the universe, whether it's in the paranormal or in the UFO, sphere. It's what I try to do. So I'm really excited to release this new book, UFO Nexus, and really what I'm doing is I'm touching on a lot of the recent UFO news that has come out and trying to shed light on a lot of the more enigmatic or, mysterious areas of this news and trying to just bring it to light and give an academic approach as to what it might be, what's happening.
Well, I like that you're doing that, but you're also putting it in layman's terms, and you're also being very meticulous about it in a way to describe exactly who is who, what is what they saw, what that means, what it means to military, what it means to government, what it means to us. And I don't usually hear that. So you put all that, you combined it in to your new book. It's not going to be out until Halloween. It's called UFO Nexus. Now, most people already know you with the UFO Highway, and they know you with ghost hunter apps, because I've had you on just strictly with ghost hunter apps that you do.
Right. A lot of paranormal work over the years, which you've been involved with. So, that's amazing. That's amazing in itself. And we did that documentary, and that was a lot of fun.
What year was that? When was that?
A lot of the filming for that happened over, I want to say, between 2015 to 2017.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been a while, but what a great
that turned out to be. That was all. Tell people where they can see that.
Well, if you go to ghosthunterapps.com, there's a link for YouTube. When you click that link, it'll take you right to the video. There's tons of videos that have to do with Ghost Hunter apps, but the biggest one by far is the movie documentary Open Minds, or Ghost Minds. So many years.
Gotcha. I know. That's why I threw it at you. So you would get, but you know what? I say it is about time, once you get your next book launched, it's about time to do another documentary. And this time, UFOs, strange lights.
Right. And by the way, it was Haunted Minds, the Ghost Box sessions. And we did that with Steve Huff, and with Noreen and a whole bunch of other people, all of our good friends from the paranormal team that we assembled. And that was 6 years ago.
It seems like it was longer than that.
Yeah, I know.
Wow. It's been forever. Well, in between there, you apparently passed away 3 times. You crossed over 3 times during that.
Right. So this is what happened. This is the craziest thing. In 2019, in August, I got a sinus infection. And instead of my immune system attacking the sinus infection, it chose to attack my nervous system. And it literally destroyed my nervous system. And that's called Guillain-Barré syndrome. And I was in the hospital within 48 hours of getting this infection, lying on my deathbed. I had to have a tracheotomy. My lungs were no longer operating on their own. It was just a nightmare. And yeah, during the 3 months that I was in the ICU, I nearly passed away, like on 3 occasions. And I honestly feel I delved into the other side.
Did you see the light?
I saw a lot more than a light.
Oh, tell us.
A lot more than a light. Yeah, it's like literally I visited another world. It was just strange, like traveling through a portal. It was something that I wrote about. I actually wrote a book called The Crossing that'll be coming out later this year about the near-death experiences, and it was sort of a therapy. It was sort of therapy for me to write that book because so many things happened during that time in my life. And I'm just glad to be back writing books, writing more software, and being involved with the world again. It was hard to be paralyzed for 2 years and not able to speak for 2 years.
And especially you, because you do not sleep. You are constantly working. Your mind is constantly going. The rest of you is trying to keep up with the mind because you work with websites, web design, you build apps, you're constantly writing or producing or directing something. So,
in addition to all of that, I have a day job as a software engineer at a company. So, I mean, it's like so much what's going on. And by the way, kudos to my 18-year-old son at the time who ran my software company for me while I was paralyzed.
You have an amazing son.
Yeah, Sean, you remember Sean. He was with us.
He is beyond his years.
Yeah. So thanks to him. And thanks to everybody who really helped me during that time.
How old is Sean now?
Sean is now 23.
Going on 45 or 50. He's just, he's just that way. Make sure you tell him I said hello. He's a good guy.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Oh, he's going to be hearing the show for sure.
Oh, okay. Hey, Sean. Mm-hmm. Well, so we're looking forward to the book, The Crossing, coming out later this year. Sure. I guess we can look for all your different books at strangelightspublishing.com. Will that one also be under there?
Yeah, Strange Lights Publishing will have UFO Nexus, UFO Highway, The Crossing, and I have several other books that I've been working on over the years that will be coming out this year. So it's kind of like a big thing for Strange Lights Publishing, and I'm really excited about that. So, and I want to thank you and Tom and George for giving me this opportunity to let the world know, hey, Anthony is still alive. He's still writing books. He's still doing UFO and paranormal research. So thank you so much. And you could probably tell that there's a little bit of an issue with my voice, but that's because of the Guillain-Barré syndrome. And I'm working through it.
Oh, well, we want you. Are you feeling okay? Can you make it through the show?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Okay. I'm ready to talk UFOs tonight. I have so much.
All right. Well, Tommy's with us tonight too, so he'll peek in his little voice from time to time.
Oh, wonderful.
I'm surprised he didn't say a little hello right there, but we'll be talking to him tonight. It's always fun when Tommy's here. He's fun to work with. So it was like 2 years ago, almost, except it was on Halloween, 2 years ago to date that you and I were on. So tell me, are you sending vibes out to me during this time of the year? Is this when you're like, Connie, I want to be on. Connie, I want to be on.
Connie, I've always felt that you and I have had this psychic connection. So that's a possibility.
I've picked right up on it, and here we are. So now let's go to the UFOs in the news. Let me ask you this. Now, you and I love to research. We love to get out there, hands-on, boots on the ground. We love it. We like to, interview people. That's good, but it's also I know to my heart, and I'm pretty sure to your heart, it's really researching it ourselves, seeing it ourselves, dealing with it ourselves, experiencing it ourselves. So I enjoy that part. I've done the other. It's work to do the other to me. I mean, it's in my world, because it's a hobby passion, and then, the broadcast journalism in me, right, to get the facts and all that. You do both as well, but you really, like me, I'd rather still chase going up in the Rockies and seeing it and feeling it and experiencing it and being taken up and down and whatever. But you can just nail these facts, boom, 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 boom. And you really think from all perspectives, and you write like poetry. I mean, you do. It's like, man, how does he do this? In fact, you guys, when you hear, when you hear me first come on and end, he helped me write those intros and outros. When I first came on the coast, I said, hey, what do I do? What do I say when I first come in and first come out? And Anthony helped put that together. He put it together for me. And then I just kind of, added my own little flair to it. But you're the guy. I mean, you're the writer that writes poetry.
Right. And Connie, it was so much better when you added your flair to it. Trust me.
Oh, well, man, you gave me the heart. And then I just added a little soul.
Right. And I think that, like you, I choose to not be, unfortunately, I was paralyzed for 2 years, but I choose not to be an armchair researcher. If I can get out there to a site, I'm going to get out there.
Yeah.
I've been to Area 51 multiple times. I've been to Dulce, New Mexico multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
You name it, I've been there. So it's just, there's something different about actually physically being on site, and, the tactile nature of being able to pick up dirt, view the surroundings, and put together your own idea of what may have happened is super important.
Well, that's what I think it shows in your writing, because you take that analytical side, you take you take that side, but then because you also experience it, you're able to add in the other side that I appreciate so much. I understand the other, you got to do that, that goes back to work for me and all the studies and schools and degrees, all that kind of thing. But you also add that experience to it too. I went to Dulce twice. I'm trying to think, is it twice or three times? And each time me and the other people with me, we were run out of Dodge. Each time we took off.
I've heard that before. So back in 2016, I want to say it was 2016, Conspiracy Theory, the show with Governor Jesse Ventura, was going to be filmed there, and Sean Stone was part of that project, and they got run out of town.
And I mean, not from the people, not from the people.
Mm-hmm.
It was, we got to get out of here. Something's telling us to run, and we did.
Well, right. So there's a lot of incidents reported by the people that live there in Dulce that there are unknown forces at work that are keeping people out of certain areas, obviously.
Yeah.
But in that particular instance, the tribal government did not allow Jesse Ventura and them to film because they just showed up. However, and I was supposed to be a part of that, but I wasn't able to travel until a couple of days later. And by the way, a couple of days later, I got there. I met with Nancy Collado. She's a former tribal police officer. Her father was a president of the tribal council, and these are friends of mine. And lo and behold, Sacramento MUFON investigator Rick Prestel, who's one of my best friends in life, he and I were on top of the Archuleta Mesa with a private guide. Ooh. When we found shipping containers for jet engines sitting atop some sort of air vents on top of the Mesa, that's when our guide freaked out, said, we got to get out of here. Don't touch anything. 2 days later, I'm partially paralyzed in my face. I don't know what they're
yeah, interesting. Exactly. Yeah. Well, that's what happens with these events.
Yeah, I went back to my hotel room and I literally felt like my skull was on fire. And I was dying. Just a strange event.
Yep. I saw something there. We definitely had something view us and really hurt our heads on the second occasion that I was there. The person that was driving, he went, ow, and dipped his head back because he had some just real sharp pain in his head. And I remember looking over at him and then boom, I got it. Ow. And because I had done remote viewing with Lynn Buchanan, our psychic spy buddy, and Lori Williams and all that, I knew that I was getting viewed by something. I actually ended up asking Lynn Buchanan. I said, what was that? And he said, well, they just took a look at you to see what you were doing there. And, when you can feel being viewed, not everybody feels that. Joe McMonagle told me, he said, Connie, that's a gift. You don't think it's a gift, but that's a gift that you can feel that. And he's right, but I wish I had other gifts, but I said, but it hurts. And sometimes people can view you and it feels good. And you're like, but you usually know who it is. This was really painful. It was not human. It was not human. It was not nice either. Yeah. And that's when we were on our way out. But I had seen something that I'd never seen before. Tell me if you've ever seen this creature. It was the first time I was out there, and it was with a cop who had a retired cop who had died twice in the line of duty. And the first time he died, when he came back, he always had this Indian figure with him at all times, this chief. He had the feather headband all the way down and always with him. And then the second time he passed, he still had the Indian chief, but he had a little alien with him and an angel, and I think it was 3 total that were always around him. This guy was amazing when it came to psychic stuff. I mean, he was just absolutely amazing. Anyway, he and I both saw what looked like this crazy creature that was see-through and jello-y like, and it was behind the vehicle coming up toward us from the left side and the right side, and both of he and I both took off. Stay with us. We got more to come here. We got Anthony Sanchez with us, Connie Willis here on Coast to Coast AM. Coast to Coast AM, Connie Willis here with you. Welcome. Thanks for being with us tonight. We have open lines coming up for you later, but currently we have Anthony F. Sanchez with us tonight, writer of several books, UFO Highway, a new one coming out, UFO Nexus. We're going to be talking about that tonight. Also coming up, The Crossing, and you can find his books at strangelightpublishing.com. You can also find his ghost hunter apps that are absolutely crazy and amazing and spooky as well at ghosthunterapps.com. Yeah, I'll never forget, Anthony, when you sent me some of those apps. This is when I was still living with my mom, and you said you wanted me to test it out, and I was trying to test it out with you on the phone, and you had said, don't do that in your home. You don't want to know what's there.
Well, that's the thing with these paranormal apps is a lot of people don't realize you start using these tools that act as mediums to invite spirits from the other side into your house, you're going to be stuck with them. And you're going to have to go through the whole process of a cleansing and all of that. So you got to be careful when you're
that'll be that's your next app. It clears.
Oh, I don't know if I could do that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because we'll put a lot of paranormal people out of business. They'll come out to your house to do the cleansing for you and ask for an honorarium or whatever. But,
well, then you have a follow-up that says, do you want them back? Here you go. Bring them back.
Right.
We'll work it. So, okay, UFO Nexus. Well, okay,
Right.
Give me, first of all, the difference of UFO Highway, that book, which was a huge hit and success, to your new one, UFO Nexus.
So, in essence, UFO Highway was essentially an incident where I interviewed somebody who said that they worked at the underground facility there at the Archuleta Mesa and in adjacent areas. In essence, working with gray aliens, reverse engineering technology, strong ties to Los Alamos National Laboratories. So it was very controversial. That's what UFO Highway was about. UFO Nexus is essentially looking at modern ufology. What are the UFO events that are happening in society today, and how do they relate back to historical events like Roswell, Kecksburg, and all of these other famous UFO incidents? But really, the one thing that I touch on is the UFO oversight from the Congressional Subcommittee, because it's really been 50 years. As in 1970 was the last time we had an official government oversight, a hearing on the subject of UFOs. And that was with the conclusion of everything that was taking place in the 60s from like Project Blue Book and whatnot. But this time we have David Grush, Ryan Graves, David Fravor, all of whom provided testimony to Congress. And the things that we learned are just stunning, especially with the USS Nimitz, the Tic Tac UFO, which resulted from that. In 2004, the USS Nimitz, and in 2015, you had the Go Fast and the Gimbal videos, which emerged, on the East Coast, of similar, type crap, UFOs that defy the laws of physics. So that's what the book touches on. And the other thing, too, is I also talk about the Las Vegas UFO and alien incident, which came out this year.
Yeah, I like that. I can't wait to hear you talk more about that.
Yeah, so, that, to me, that's going to stand out as something that is really intriguing, because you have law enforcement officers who were involved and believed that they also saw something. Not to mention the ambiguity due to the fact that they shut off the body cam just as they were walking into the backyard where the family had reported seeing the aliens. So I write about that. I offer, my opinion, but I also look at the notable observations and findings. Like, for instance, the incident seems to align with a lot of global accounts of bizarre UFO and extraterrestrial encounters. And at the location of the alleged landing, there was a noticeable circular impression that was discovered in the soil. A lot of people say they managed to debunk that, but I don't know. The family reported experiencing a shock wave, and there was auditory evidence of multiple footsteps in their yard. Not to mention, they said they heard something on the rooftop. And the father and the son who observed the aliens said that they saw lights attached to or protruding from their head area. Was it technology? Was it biological? We don't know. There's so much weirdness behind that. And the family's been threatened. They've been observed by strange groups of people. And the fact that the Metro Police blacked out a segment of the body cam footage, citing privacy laws, something we never see them do, is just strange to me.
What do you think that's about?
How many videos on YouTube are there of body cam footage of the entire incidents? Why is it the moment they were going to walk into the backyard where this incident occurred, where there was a craft, where there were purported aliens, they're citing privacy laws all of a sudden? So, that's just intriguing to me. Not to mention the fact that there was a frantic phone call to 911. The caller literally said, he said, in my backyard, I swear to God, this is not a joke. This is actually, we're terrified. And then the dispatcher had said to him, you're telling me that there's two subjects in your backyard. And the caller said to her, correct, and they're very large. They're like 8 foot, 9 feet, 10 feet tall. They look like aliens to us, big eyes. So, the guy was actually terrified, as was the family. And, George Knapp did some follow-up investigations out there for KLS TV, Channel 8. And I believe they were the first ones to acquire the body cam footage from the officers that were dispatched that night. And, I remember from the videos that I saw, the officer asked the kid, what did you see? And the kid responded, it was like a big creature, more than 10 feet tall. And the officer told him, said, I'm not going to BS you guys, but one of my partners reported seeing something descend from the sky. Now, there was a meteor that was seen in the sky. Is it related? There was a nearby home in the area that had ring cam footage of something that had nothing to do with that meteor. It literally sounded like a stereotypical UFO landing from a 1950s movie. The sound effects they used to make.
I remember seeing that.
But with like a boom, and the entire neighborhood lit up. That's not a meteor. Something happened in that neighborhood. And I think it's one of the things that I wrote in the book is that the distance from Area 51 to Las Vegas is just 82 miles away. And that's just a little too close to dismiss entirely from the narrative of that evening in April 2023. Matter of fact, it was April 30th, and it carried over into May 1st. So, this is a very recent event. And, a lot of people are laughing, a lot of people are joking, but you cannot make a call to 911 in the state of Nevada as a hoax or part of a hoax and not expect to be hit with a felony. It's a very serious thing. So the Las Vegas UFO and alien incident, I write about in the book. And, I know I sent you a preview of the book. And one of the things that I do is I ask the questions. I put together a yes versus no argument at the end of each section. And in this one, I asked, was the Las Vegas UFO alien incident a genuine, unexpected, otherworldly event that traumatized the family and captivated the public, or was it something else? So, yes, is what I think. The incident has multiple facets that lend credibility. First, the family in question was evidently distressed. And then we talked about the 911 call, right? You can't joke around with the 911 system. It's a felony. Secondly, law enforcement was heavily involved that night from the Metro Police. That added a very strong layer for me of authenticity. The body cam footage, despite sections of it being blacked out for privacy laws, it showed all of their reactions. In some cases, their own incredulity juxtaposed with curiosity. Something happened that night, and it was not something that could be readily or easily explained. And I think that we need to pay more attention to that incident. On the other side of the spectrum, a lot of skepticism is arising from various quarters. One in particular area is that Jason Steffen, who's a UNLV astrophysicist, he points to what many witnessed in the sky that night as likely being a meteor, and he's probably right about that. And that's fine. But to dismiss the idea of an extraterrestrial craft when the Ring camera says otherwise is just absolutely ridiculous.
Those Ring cameras, man, they've been great, haven't they, along the way?
Absolutely.
They've shown more things than anybody would ever think.
Yeah, absolutely. So given the long history of UFO sightings and encounters, we have to take this seriously. And again, it's funny, but a simple little technology like a Ring camera can help dispel any notion of it being a hoax. What was that? And I challenge people, go to YouTube, look at the Ring camera from a nearby home in that neighborhood. It literally sounded like boom, and then the entire neighborhood lit up. That's not a meteor. Something happened.
And you know what? Just in general as well, I think that people need to, and I think for the most part, our audience does. But people got to believe normal, everyday people in what they see. I know people want, I want a government official to see it and say it. I want a police officer to say it, see it and say it. I want a military officer to see it and say it. But, because they're all professional observers and they're all, got these credentials going, but so do we normal everyday people, and we are looking up and we are looking out and we see these things, and we need to be taken seriously just as much as they do.
Especially over the last 20 years, we've seen such a paradigm shift in the world of both paranormal and especially in ufology. For instance, 20 years ago, nothing was being recorded by anyone on a daily basis to the extent that it is today. For instance, everybody has a cell phone. And everybody that has a cell phone today, a smartphone, has what? A high-definition camera that they can record with. They can either snap photos or record videos. And the advent of social media, coupled with the technology of the smartphone, does what? It gives us a close view of the world that we live in from millions of different perspectives. And we are now seeing so many different things caught on film, which shows you how old I am.
You old man.
Caught on video. Unexplainable things. So, it's funny. A lot of people will ask the question, are we seeing light anomalies? Like, are these luminous enigmas, ephemeral plasma or things like that? Or can it be explained by, are we hallucinating, which I call the Joe Rogan effect in the book, right?
I saw that.
Everybody in the world is hallucinating due to the effects of mycology, right? It's just, There are natural earth enigmas out there, like, for instance, we just had earthquake in Morocco. And prior to the earthquake, it was recorded lights, these gigantic flashing earthquake lights is what they call them. We've seen that in Peru. We've seen that in China. One of the strange things is that in the China event, where people thought they were seeing UFOs, but it was during a warm, clear, cloudless day, these sundog clouds appeared, which normally doesn't happen because the sundog occurs when the sun or the moon shines through a thin, cirrus cloud composed of like hexagonal ice crystals falling with their principal axis vertical. It's just craziness. To see a sundog happen, it has to be a perfect scenario of weather, right? But it doesn't happen on a clear, cloudless, warm day. What happened on that day later was that a massive earthquake hit. It was potentially what is known as a piezoelectric effect. You know how people, when you go to like some of the psychic shows and everything, they sell these little pyramids, which they called, I forget what they call them, but they have the crystals inside of the resin because when you compress a crystal, what it does is it releases a piezoelectric effect. You're releasing an electrical charge. Well, imagine the Earth, tectonic plates, putting so much pressure on underground rock formations that it's creating a light effect through a piezoelectric effect.
Interesting conversation with Anthony Sanchez. More to come. Stay with us. Connie Willis here on Coast to Coast AM.